Okay, you all have it? Yeah?
Page 10?
Page 64, paragraph 9. Okay? Up to this point, the Kuzari was requiring from the Muslim scholar to give him evidence, to give him proof that his criterion to prove that there is such a bond or relationship between the Creator and human beings, that the Creator actually communicated with human beings. Okay, and what is his criterion or demand that can convince such a person like him or others that such a thing happened, or that there is such a communication between the Creator and human beings? Okay, what's his demand?
He is asking for a mass divine spectacle.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that not just one person in a cave witnessed and then related to everyone else. That everyone could confirm they saw it firsthand.
Right. Okay, so maybe let's go through again in number 8, just to refresh our memory, and then we'll continue in number 9. Okay. Russell, you have it in front of you. Can you read?
Yes, Rob. Number 8?
Yeah.
The Kuzari said, "It does not make sense that the Creator would communicate with a mortal without there being some supernatural phenomenon accompanying the experience. This would be the only way to prove that it was really the Creator communicating. Furthermore, the supernatural effect would have to be a public spectacle so that the adherents of the religion would see it with their own eyes, instead of having to believe an account of it from their prophet. This way, they could believe the communication without any shadow of a doubt, and without questioning that perhaps it was the result of a rich imagination or black magic. Only then could we hope that these people would accept such a concept, that the Creator of this world, the world to come, the angels, the heavens, and the constellations would attach himself to this lowly corporeal creature, man, and further, that he would speak to him and fulfill his requests and desires."
Okay, so let's just analyze what he's expecting to see or to hear from the Muslim scholar, or basically he's asking this from any other religion as well. Okay, so first of all, okay, what's the first demand? Follow the text. What? What's his first demand?
Communication with the mortal? It has to be supernatural.
Okay, first of all, supernatural phenomena, right? That is accompanying the experience.
Yep.
A. Okay, next.
It has to be public.
Well, go ahead.
Has to be public.
Okay. All right, so it was not just one witness, it was the masses. Okay, further, next one. No, any answer? What?
Manifestation?
What?
Communication between men.
Okay, where do you see it in the text?
Attaching himself to this low corporeal creature.
Okay, again, let's go through this again. First one is that this communication had to go through a supernatural phenomenon accompanying the experience, right? Then we said that it had to be in front of the masses that are witnessing and experiencing this bond or prophecy, whatever it is, right?
There's no shadow of a doubt.
Okay, how do we make sure that there's no shadow of doubt?
People see it with their own eyes.
That's one thing, but there's something else.
There's multiple people, not just a single prophet.
Something else in addition to that.
If it was questionable, then you would know inherently that that's not God. Like if it's God speaking, no one has a shadow of a doubt.
But let's look again in the text. What does he say here?
It's not the result of rich imagination or black magic.
No, before that.
Communication.
Maybe the spectacle aspect. It's got to be something just so amazing that it can't just be a small. This is not like a small thing. It's like poof and like.
Mm-hmm.
Because even say Pharaoh's magicians were able to turn water into blood.
Right.
But it's got to be something so grandiose that it's like, okay, not even black magic could accomplish something like this. It's got to be like breaking through heaven and God speaking to people. Something on that massive of a scale.
Okay. Anything else?
Maybe what you say, to see it with your own eyes. Emphasis on that.
That we said, to witness, to experience, but
yeah, but that it's not a. I guess what you were touching
It's in a way
that it's not
that
just
it
a
doesn't
little
come
thing
through the
that
translation of a prophet.
Right.
Right, like someone who's
Maybe
conducting
I
black
don't see
magic
why-
takes, like, say, the entrails of a cow and says, "This is what's going to happen with the thing from now on."
Mm-hmm.
However, if it's not black magic, it's then it's understood without the translation of a prophet.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not being derived.
Let's see. Just to make sure, because of the translation, maybe it is missing something from the Hebrew. Okay, so there's one thing that is lacking. There is missing from the Hebrew translation. Okay, in Hebrew it says, in addition, not only that they witnessed it, but they investigated. Okay?
That's not. I have a Dutch translation. It says
Okay, so they investigated to make sure that it's not black magic. To make sure that it's not a fraud. It's not something that people can fake it or make something similar to that. Okay, so that's I think is an important fact to add, to include. Okay, it's not only that you witnessed and experienced this phenomena, but rather you tested it scientifically, whatever tools you want to, but you test it to see, but that it cannot be explained scientifically or in a human way. It is something that is unnatural, and that's it. Okay, so that's something that in the English translation here was missing, but that's just trying to see if you're able to figure out. But okay, so up to here.
What word is that in the Hebrew text?
It says v'sheyachkeru al hadavar. Okay. יחקרו על הדבר ויבחנו בחינה אחר בחינה. They'll test it, test after test. Okay, so that's something that is not included in the English translation.
I think they just summed it up to without shadow of a doubt.
Right. Yeah, but how do you get to that certainty with no doubt unless you tested it? Yeah. Okay, so basically we understand what the king of Kuzar is demanding, what's his criterion to convince himself and other people of if there is or was such a communication between the Creator and human beings. Right? Clear? Okay. So let's yeah.
Not about this, but in Muslim, there wasn't such a thing of a big miracle that involved more people. It was
No.
or wasn't?
No. It's all relying on one individual who claims that God revealed Himself to him, and from there it spread on. That's very similar to the Christian religion as well. Okay, it's all relying on one individual. Okay. Yeah.
No, okay. I just I don't know the.
Okay. So, yeah. So that's you'll see it here from the respond of the Muslim scholar. Yeah.
You can say that's the criteria of a sect, right? Like dependent on one person. It's like the
Yeah.
how you get a sect.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. If he's powerful and charismatic, then he's able to drag people to follow him. Yeah. All right, Russell, ready for number 9?
Yes, Rabbi. The wise Muslim responded, "But is not our holy book, the Quran, full of miracles related about Moses and the children of Israel? No one denies that God brought retribution upon Pharaoh, that he split the Red Sea to save his chosen nation, that he drowned the Egyptians, that he brought the manna and the quail from the heavens to feed the children of Israel for 40 years in the desert, that he spoke with Moses on Mount Sinai, that he made the sun stand still for Joshua, and that he helped Joshua defeat the mighty giants living in Canaan. And certainly what God did before the advent of the Israelite nation, such as the Great Flood and the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, these are events that are well known. No one would suggest that these miracles were performed through trickery or that they were figments of the imagination."
Okay, so what's his proof? What's his evidence for such a bond and communication, and that God revealed Himself?
All stuff that happened to Torah.
He took the Torah.
Okay, so yeah, well, as far as we some claim that the Quran is full of midrashim that were distorted and copied and from the different sages and sources, and intentionally, so to be distinguished from the Jewish people. Same thing was with the Christian scholars in the beginning. But the bottom line is that they do mention in the Quran Moshe and Yeshua, as he mentioned here. So basically, they are relying on the Torah as evidence and proof that God revealed and communicated with human beings. And since those miracles that are mentioned were revealed to the masses, not to one individual, and didn't begin from one individual, so therefore they must be true. It cannot be a conspiracy, cannot be invented and made up. Okay? All right, so basically the Kuzari's conclusion is, if you're appointing that your evidence comes from the Torah, then I don't need you anymore. Yeah.
That's alinea. That's the next alinea.
Yeah. Let's see if there's anything else to add here. Okay. But basically what he's saying is that, okay, you're looking for such a criterion as mentioned before, then, okay, I have that criterion. It was done. It was performed in front of the Israelites. But, okay, so I have that criterion for you. But still, follow the Quran, follow our religion. Okay, but okay, okay, so let's read the answer. Let's see, number 10.
Yeah, I think it's also just to cover the point of to research.
Yeah.
Test was actually covering that as well by naming all the different events. It wasn't just one spectacle.
Right.
It was a whole list of things that occurred.
Right.
So you're saying, without a shadow of a doubt, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
Said the Kuzari, "If the miracles experienced by the children of Israel are the entire proof to any believer in the Bible that there is a God in the world, then I see that I have to ask the Jews, for they are the descendants of the biblical children of Israel. And so he summoned a Jewish sage and asked him about his faith.
Okay. Before we begin with the rabbi, okay, we have to go through this comparison of what we read before, and in order to understand what the rabbi is going to say and what the Kuzar's expectation is of what the rabbi should have said. Okay, so let's go back from the beginning. Okay, the king of Kuzar, he, if you remember, received a dream, and in his dream, he was demanded to seek for that his intentions are desirable to the Creator, but his deeds are not, and he should seek for the correct deeds. Okay, remember? Then he approached first the philosopher, since he's a rational person, and that dream didn't seem rational, and he wanted to make sure that there is such a thing. Okay, but since the philosopher couldn't give him a good answer that will please and satisfy him, then he kept on with his journey. Okay, because he was convinced with his own being, with his own say faith or certainty that there are correct deeds. It's not only this abstract communication, rather there's something that has to do with practice in this world, and it's not only into pure intellect. So he was seeking for something beyond, and since he couldn't find it with the philosophers, then he approached the religious people. And so remember, he started with his journey with the religions, with the Christian scholar. In Christianity, on one hand, so finally somebody's claiming that there is such a bond and connection between God and human beings, and that there are deeds. However, in this religion, he dismissed him because that the Christian scholar gave up on logic altogether. Okay, if you remember whoever was with us. Okay, he dismissed him because he's saying, listen, from every individual that he had the dialogue with, he adopted something and dismissed him for something. So the philosopher, he dismissed him because there are no deeds at all, and it's only pure intellect. So he accepts that we never should give up on our intellect. We should never give up on our logic. So that he adopts with him and it takes with him with his journey. But on the other hand, he cannot give up on the fact that this world is demanding deeds and being part of the world and interference with the world. Because the philosophers, they are like priests. They just give up on all materialistic aspects, and the king does not want to do that. So then when he approaches the Christian scholar, that's the other extreme, where there is no logic, there is no rationalism whatsoever, but there's a claim that there is communication and bond with God. Okay, so he says, okay, I hear you, but I dismiss you because logic is gone. Okay, in Hebrew we have a saying, no worries, no brain. Or the opposite, no brain, no worries. Okay, so then he dismissed the Christian scholar. And we said with the Christian scholar is that he's seeking for the bond with God here. Okay, that's why they're claiming that there is no gap between God and human beings anymore. Okay, since, if you remember, we talked about this, that the frustration for human beings in general, but and the religious people, is this gap, this eternal gap between God and human beings. So the Christians, so the Christians found a solution. What's the solution? There is no gap. God is actually human. Okay, and since he's human, so then there is no gap, and then okay, you know the rest of it and the consequence of that. So then there's no. Basically, you can do whatever you want, because if God is human and you're human, then okay. Huh?
I don't agree, but then we go into Christianity, and you are here for Judaism.
I can't hear.
I said I don't agree with you, but
Yeah.
I'm not here to
You don't agree with what?
your explanation about Christianity.
It's very brief, and it's not the whole idea. Yeah.
That's not very hard.
Huh?
That's not how do you say that? English is my second language.
We zitten in Nederland. Er zijn allemaal Nederlanders.
No,
How do you say that?
what
in
I
Dutch?
hear.
Let me
Hoeveel
say.
Nederlanders zijn er dan hier?
4.
Oké. Nee, we zijn hier niet om het christelijke geloof te gaan uitleggen.
Oh yeah, we're not here to explain the Christianity.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
Keep it brief.
Yeah.
The
We went through it a while
Let's
ago.
agree
No,
to
the
this.
feeling is like you diminish,
Huh?
you simplify too much another religion.
Huh?
You simplify too much, like the Christianity. Like, you make few words. Like,
Yeah, because we went through this a while ago, and we went in depth with it. So I don't want to go through it again. Okay, so just yeah. What I wanted to say. Okay, but what I want to show you is the opening statement of the Christian scholar. Okay, so open up, and this is on page. Let's see. On page 59. Okay. Okay, you have it? Page 59?
Yes.
Okay. Russell, can you read the opening statement?
Starting which paragraph?
I believe that the universe.
Okay, that's right.
Sentence 5.
I believe that the universe was created and that the blessed God preceded all. He created the world in 6 days. All human beings are descendants of the first man, Adam, and they trace themselves back to him as well as to Noah after him. God supervises all of creation and is especially involved with mankind. God shows wrath to sinners and mercy to the righteous. God speaks and appears on different levels to prophets and other saintly persons. He dwells among a chosen nation of people.
Okay, up to there. Okay, so memorize that, okay? Now, compare this to the opening statement of what the Muslim said. Okay? And on page 62, okay, in the bottom, the Muslim said.
You want me to read?
Yeah.
Okay. The Muslim said, "We uphold the beliefs in the unity and eternity of God, and that the world is God's creation, and that all men are descended from the first man, Adam. We reject the possibility of corporeality in God. If you find anything in our literature, the Quran, that seems to indicate otherwise, we would explain that those passages are written metaphorically, to bring certain esoteric ideas closer to man's grasp. We further believe that our holy book is the word of God, and that indeed the wondrous text itself proves this."
Okay, that's not less important to us. Okay, so the opening statement, like the 4 or 5 sentences of the Muslim and the Christian. Okay, now try to compare them and see what is common. First, let's see what's common between them.
Adam,
they recognize God as the creator of the world and the first man Adam
Mm-hmm.
and all the men's descendants.
I think they both
Okay.
refer to the Torah, right?
Yes,
The Tanakh.
acknowledge the Torah.
Does it mention Torah?
Not Torah, but the writings of the Jews, I think they say.
For the Christians and the Muslims, they're using their connection to God,
Mm-hmm.
Adam.
Through Adam. Very good.
Adam, the first man.
Very good.
Because that way they're all connected and you don't get lost.
Right.
As Jews, really, we see our connection.
Hold on. We'll get there. We'll get there in a minute. But first, we want to compare these two.
Christian,
It says for the Christian, he says, literally, essentially, I believe all that is written in the Torah
Right,
and in the
right.
sacred books of the Jews.
Okay, but in the beginning, what does he say?
The connection to Adam, right?
Okay.
He mentions the connection to Adam.
Right. Okay, so the most important thing for both the Christian and the Muslim is to relate all human beings, it's all in common to all human beings, to Adam. Right?
Like a universal claim.
Exactly. Okay, and they both agree that there's a creator and he created the world in 6 days, which is also something could say universal. Right? So that is in common. Okay, the differences we saw. Okay, so because later on the Christian mentions that at the end of the generations of Israel, then God became human, came in a form of a human being, and all that, and the Muslims are rejecting anything to do with that. Okay, but the bottom line is, if we talk about the common thing, is that they're talking about Creator, and that all people are descendants of Adam, right? Okay, and that the world was created in 6 days, right? Okay.
And God is the creator.
What?
And God is the creator.
Yeah. Okay, now, when the king of Kuzar hears those statements again and again, okay, with the Christian and the Muslim, what is he expecting now to hear from the rabbi? The same, right? So the opening statement must be, according to the king of Kuzar, is that there's a God, he's the creator of the world, he created the world in 6 days, and we're all descendants of Adam and Noach. Okay? Now, when you have that in mind, let's see what the rabbi has to say, and then what the king of Kuzar's reaction or response to that is. Okay, so page 66, 11.
The rabbi said to him, "We believed in the God of Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov, who took the Jews out of Egypt with great wonders and miracles, who sustained them in the desert, and who gave them the land of Canaan as their inheritance after he split both the Red Sea and the Jordan River with great miracles. This God sent Moshe to give his Torah, and later he sent thousands of prophets throughout history who exhorted the populace to follow the Torah, and who taught about the great reward for those who observe it and the heavy punishment for those who violate it. We believe in everything written in the Torah, which contains a massive amount of information."
Okay, so listen, we'll go through this a lot and we'll analyze this paragraph. So this paragraph is basically summarizing the whole first essay. But even just with the first sentences, okay, we said the Kuzari king is expecting to hear about the universal God and creation in 6 days. And Adam. Is anything of that mentioned here at all? No. Okay, so you can realize that he's frustrated. He is, disappointed. Okay? Where's the creator? There is no creator. What happened to creation of the world in 6 days? Creation at all. Who is he relating to? Who is the rabbi relating to? The God of the patriarchs, right? The God of Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. Right? So, why is that such... why do you think that's so disappointing the king of Kuzar?
Well, it's a familial relationship to this God, and the king Kuzar is not part of that family, perhaps.
Okay. Okay, you're already jumping ahead, but you're absolutely but you're right. You're correct. You're absolutely correct.
According to the Christian and Muslim, it's for everyone.
And also the Christian, right?
The Christian and Muslim,
right?
They're saying it's for everyone, and we all have entitleship to
right.
This inheritance.
And also, I don't remember if we mentioned this, that both Islam and Christianity have the desire to convert all people to their religion, right? Okay. why does the rabbi begin with Avraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov? He could have started with creation as well, right? Why does it begin with Avraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov?
Actually, the Torah was not given to Adam. It was given to
Louder, I can't hear you.
The Torah was not given to Adam. It was given to Abraham. That's it.
Uh-huh. So what's the topic of this paragraph?
Where our connection is.
Who?
Who our connection to God is through.
To Sinai.
No, so to who what's the topic? One word.
Chosen. Oh, it's 2 words. But
Okay, two words.
Chosen people.
The chosen people. Okay? So the topic of this paragraph is Am Yisrael. Correct? Yes or no?
Yes.
The Khazar expect a superior belief, like the Christian and the Muslim are showing. Our belief is superior. That's what they try to. Yeah?
Yeah?
And the Jew, the rabbi, is more humble. He said, we look at our ancestors, how they did it. We follow their example. Of course we believe in the Creator. And we are descendants of Adam. But in the core, we follow our ancestors. And that's not the superior answer in the eyes of the Khazar.
Okay. Okay, why do we if the topic of this paragraph is Am Yisrael, what are the roots of Am Yisrael? Where does Am Yisrael begin? Avraham. Why? How do we know?
God called it.
God said that.
God called him.
Called him. God called some people, But what's with Avraham?
You make the brit with Abraham.
Ah, very good. Did he make only one covenant with him? Two. What are the two covenants?
Brit Milah
And
with the species, the animals got to.
What are those two covenants referring to? Okay, let's start with the what we call in Hebrew Brit Ben HaBetarim. Okay, when he split the animals. Okay, what is that covenant referring to?
the land of Israel.
Okay, in other words, be more specific.
And the eternal inheritance of that Am Yisrael that Am Yisrael forever will be inherited the land of Israel.
Very good. Okay.
And the other is that the chosen people will come from Avram.
Not only that, what else is with the covenant of the circumcision?
That he will be a great nation.
Yeah, a great nation.
That's similar to what Sios is saying. It's something else.
The God of Abraham is the God of Israel, and we are the people.
Okay,
The
so
Jewish people is the people. Of the Jew.
right. So okay, so the covenant with the circumcision is
You will be my people and I will be
exactly okay that the descendants of Abraham, okay, the Jewish people will eternally have the bond and the connection with Hashem. No matter what, no matter if they misbehave, if they sin, okay, which is one of the say mistakes of the Christianity, okay, where they're thinking that since the Jewish people sinned, then he cut off this covenant and there is no bond anymore with the Jewish people. Okay, so according to this covenant, it is eternal. And okay, how do we say covenant in Hebrew? Okay, what's the meaning of that word?
alliance.
I can't hear.
Alliance.
In other words, what do you mean?
It's a contract.
It's like something eternal. No end.
Okay.
So, unconditional contract.
Ah. When
Conditional.
it is conditional?
No.
Unconditional. Unconditional. If it was conditional, then the Christians are right. Okay, because then we sinned and then he cuts off the contract. That's it.
I mean, I think Brit in general could just be a contract in general, but maybe like what kind of breed. Could be like you could have a conditional breed or an unconditional breed. I think in the case of Kuzari, that it was Hashem. It was the torch in the oven that went through. It wasn't Abraham that did it. It's like Hashem essentially holding up both ends of it, saying this is going to be eternal forever.
Very good, very good. Okay, when you
in there is a condition.
but that again, it is not.
Yeah, no, that's
Okay. Well, maybe we'll get to that later. But the bottom line is, when humans sign a contract, then you're right. It's conditional, and it's not eternal. Okay, but in this case, who took the initiative to sign this contract? Hashem. Okay, it's not Avraham. It's not the Jewish people, the Israelites. Okay, so it's not up to us. And since he decided, he chose to have this covenant with Avraham Avinu, okay, it's unconditional and it's eternal. Okay. Now, why? If we know that it all begins with Avraham, why was it so important to mention Yitzchak and Yaakov as well? Very good. Okay, since we have, it's Avraham had 2 sons, and Yitzchak had 2 sons, and not all of them were chosen. Not all of them were, say, the continuation of this covenant. Okay, so it is to emphasize that it's excluding some of them, and it's only narrowing it to Yaakov. Okay, what is so unique with Yaakov?
Everyone from Yaakov is Bnei Yisrael.
Excellent. Okay, basically our sages, the commentaries say that up to Yaakov there was a clarification. Who is the continuation of Hashem's will? Okay, so we have Avraham, fine. But then Avraham has Yitzchak and Ishmael. Who continues it? It's not so clear. Okay, so then we have Yitzchak. Okay, but then Yitzchak, there's Yaakov and Esav. And only with Yaakov, with all the 12 tribes, then it's clear that the covenant only goes through them. Okay, that's why our sages call Yaakov the chosen one, or the conclusion of the patriarchs. Okay? So we clarified why he begins with Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. Right? Now, we have 1 more minute, so 2 more minutes. Look what he says further on. So first of all, he does not begin with creation and 6 days in Adam. He begins with Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, we said, because the topic here is Israel. Now, immediately after mentioning Yaakov, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, what's the next thing he mentions? The Exodus, right? Why?
Because that's the real deal. The nation.
Okay, the Exodus is the birth of the nation, right?
Yes.
Okay, now, what does he mention there? Okay, so he took the Jews out of Egypt with great wonders and miracles. That's not the most important thing, but it's a fact that happened. Okay, the wonders and miracles. Who sustained them in the desert. Okay, why is it important to mention that? What's so unique about that? How long did he sustain us?
40 years.
40 years.
Proves that Hashem is guarding over us and is alive and is involved in our.
Excellent. Okay.
All our.
It is again emphasizing that there's a special, unique bond only with Israel. Okay. 40 years he sustained them in the desert in miracles, right? Only to them. So again, emphasizes that these are the chosen people. And Later on, who gave them the land of Canaan as their inheritance, after he split both the Red Sea and the Jordan River with great miracles. Is it, chronically, is this by the order?
No.
Why not? Did he realize that it's not by the order? What's the order, historically?
Split the Red Sea.
Historically, it's all the miracles, and then it's the 40 years in the desert.
No, it said after that.
Jordan River,
Yeah.
and then the land of Canaan.
So first comes the Red Sea, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Later comes
The desert.
the Jordan. No, okay,
And then
that.
the giving of the Torah, then the Jordan.
Hold on. Okay, you're right. So we didn't get there yet. But I'm talking what the sentence we just read now. Look what he says. Who sustained them in the desert, right? So that's after the Exodus. That's fine.
Yes.
But look what he says here. Who gave them the land of Canaan, which comes much later, as their inheritance after he split both the Red Sea and the Jordan River. Chronically, he should have mentioned first. No. I'm saying from what we just read.
Mitzrayim, Red Sea, desert,
And then inherit.
the
They
river,
split the Red Sea, yes. Then the
And the
Jordan,
river.
and then the land plan.
Right. Why does he mention first inheritance of the land?
He gave it to Abraham earlier.
Hmm?
He gave it to Abraham earlier. Like he promised it at least.
He did.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other idea why?
Because inheritance shows favoritism.
Shows what?
Favoritism. Say that if you have many children, the one who receives your inheritance is the one that you have chosen.
Okay. So emphasizing that point, yeah, Russell?
I was going to say, it also just, it's not about the whole world in the end of the day. Like the Christian and the Muslim, they want to convert everyone in
Right.
the world. The whole, it's particular. It's one people, one land, one God.
Okay. Anything else?
it's something that it's continuation, like the
Mhm.
giving of the land of Canaan.
Mhm.
It's like non-stop.
Okay.
They give
Okay.
them and continue giving
Mhm.
until now.
It also shows like legitimacy in a way.
Okay.
Like who's the deed holder?
Mm-hmm.
Like if you hold the deed to the land, it means you hold the rights. You're a legitimate heir to the nation.
Okay, and all of what you said, I accept and agree. I wanted to add to it, yeah.
It's an idea that the Muslims and the Christians, they speak about the creation of the world.
Right.
And here we're talking about actually God giving a piece of
Land.
that land
Yeah.
to these people,
Mm-hmm.
to the Jewish people.
Right.
So it essentially, yes, I think it's what everybody's sort of saying, it's a special place.
Ah.
Right?
Okay. Okay. This is a special place to the chosen people, and only for them, and meaning that this land has a value and a meaning on its own. It's not an instrument for something else. Okay, I mean, this nation cannot live as a nation without this land. And this land cannot, let's say, express itself fully with all its potential without this nation. Okay, it's like a soul and a body together. One cannot be without the other. Okay, so that's why it mentions it first. It's like the land is the top priority, and because without the land, you're not a nation. Okay, we must stop here. It's lunch, so I'll continue.